Good evening, namaste, welcome. If we haven't met before, my name is Kay. I'm an ecstatic life coach, and every Sunday night I like to jump on here on YouTube Live and lead a guided meditation, self-reflection sort of class. I like to draw on whatever's going on for me in my world and offer it to you as perhaps something that will speak to you, inspire you, be something that maybe will help you a little bit on your journey. So it's a pleasure to be here tonight. So if you read the title of this video, you might be saying, that's an interesting thing. Usually Kay is so uplifting. Usually he chooses something really like, oh, how to float on a cloud in the heavens, or how to feel like you're eating cherry pie every day while you meditate. So for me to pick kind of a downer of a title is a little bit interesting for me. But like I said, I want to share what's going on with me and see if that's helpful for you. So before we dive in, I just want you to take a moment to notice where you are, notice how you're feeling, notice where you are geographically, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, dentally, I don't care, wherever. How are you? Where are you? What's going on for you? Are you okay right now? Good, great. Take a breath. Be here in this moment, in your body, regardless of what else is going on. If the dog is barking, the kids are screaming, your neighbor's crying, maybe go check on your neighbor if they're crying, something might have happened. Yeah, domestic abuse being what it is. Just be here. Just simply be. Stop doing. And check in with yourself. What's going on in your emotions? What's going on in your body? How are you really? And I'm guessing if you clicked on this video because of the title, I'm guessing you're probably struggling a little bit, or have been recently. And that's okay. It's okay to be exactly where you are. We'll make things better down the road, but for right now, it always starts with acceptance. You can't reject your current situation and then just hope things will be better, that you'll just change it. Now you have to sit with the discomfort, you have to be with your feelings, and then we'll shift. So where are you? How are you? Now as you ask those questions, as you just start to sit with yourself, we'll talk a little bit about what's been going on for me and why I chose this as the topic for today's class. So many of you, if you've watched my YouTube channel regularly, I've always been privy to things going on in my life, what's going on with my artistic struggles, what's going on in my relationships, with my husband, with my friends, and a couple things kind of came up around this idea of worthlessness. And for me, that's very much tied to the experience of rejection. One of them is my personal life, where recently, this past summer, someone I viewed as my best friend wanted to cut all ties for me, which was very, very hard, especially because wouldn't have a conversation with me, wouldn't tell me why, won't tell me what's going on, and just someone I've known since we were 14 years old. Another big thing, which has been more recent, is me putting my book that I've written, my new book, out into the world by submitting it to agents, submitting it to people in the literary world, and getting it rejected, which I knew going in, par for the course. That's part of the experience. It's a super saturated market. It's a little bit like trying to buy a house right now. It's just impossible. But it's brought up for me these feelings, these old, deep feelings of not feeling good enough, of not being enough, of being worthless, of being rejected. One of the things I love that I get to do in my line of work of doing spiritual life coaching is I get to talk to really interesting people. And sometimes people like you, people who find me through YouTube and watch videos like this, reach out to me and say, hey, I'd love to have a conversation. And one such person did that this week. I mean, a few people did, but one such led to a really interesting ongoing conversation where me and this person ended up talking for a few hours. And there's somebody who I also identify as intuitive and spiritual and very much as a healer. And one of the things he said to me is like, I just really strongly get the sense, Kay, that you really struggle in your root chakra, which was interesting for me to hear because it's not an area I've particularly felt like, I have a lot of blockage there. But I trusted this person's insight. It felt in line with me. Like it felt accurate. I could sense that they had some validity and truth to what they were saying. And so he said, I get the sense, well, the root chakra has to do with survival, afraid of not being able to not being able to feel like you're going to thrive. Like existential crisis, like I'm going to get eaten by a lion. That's very root chakra sort of stuff. And what he said to me just hit home so well, is he said, I think for you that because you've experienced so much betrayal in your life, or maybe betrayal wasn't the word he used, rejection in your life, part of you, or a deep part of you believes that you are worthless, that you don't deserve to take up space here. And that really hit me hard, because he's right. There is a part of me that fundamentally believes that if I were to disappear, no one would care. Throughout my life, rejection has been a theme that has come back again and again and again. When I was a kid, I very much did not connect with my peer group, and I really struggled to find any friends. I was bullied pretty relentlessly day after day after day after day. There wasn't a day I didn't go home in tears. I really didn't feel like I started to make my first friends until my 20s. When I lived in the ashram, if you saw my video I posted recently on what it was like to live in an ashram, I was rejected often by the people there for whatever reason. Like, they would bake other people 3 birthday cakes and then forget my birthday. That they would invite everybody in the community to a meditation class but be told I wasn't allowed to come. That for 2 years I wasn't allowed to speak when I entered a room. And then I chose a career as an actor where when you audition, you're auditioning sometimes 3 times a day. And 19 times out of 20, you're not getting the part. You're not even often getting a callback. So I chose a career where I was getting rejected. And all of these experiences have built up into me this idea. And it's not even something I necessarily consciously think, but it's something that I can feel resonates in my body. That the world would be better if I weren't here. Or if I were to leave, no one would care. Again, I don't consciously think this. My logical brain doesn't think this. My adult spiritual thing doesn't think this. But there's a primal, deep part of me that says the whole world has again and again told you are worthless. Because you have been rejected again and again. And I know I'm not alone in this. I know probably many of you have experienced similar feelings. And so what this new acquaintance, this new friend, inspired me to do, or suggested that I do, was to say, start noticing all the people, even the ones you aren't even aware of, maybe the ones who maybe watch your YouTube channel or have read your book, who never let you know. Think of all the people that are so glad that you're here. All the people that say thank you for showing up on this planet and for being here. And as I've been playing with that message for myself, I can feel deep down inside of me in a very lower part that that's not a message that my body is used to hearing in a subconscious way. That idea that I'm valuable, that I'm worthy. I mean, those are words you hear me say all the time in this YouTube channel and in my coaching. I'm valuable, I'm worthy. But specifically this idea of there are people who want you here. There are people who see you. Like, that is a very healing balm for me. And when I look at my life and how I live it and the choices I've made through this lens of rejection and being told that I am valuable, being told that I am deserving to live here, a lot of things start to come into relief. I start to understand things in my life. There have been a handful of instances, maybe 4 or 5, over the past 7 or so years, where I've touched a pit of sorrow in me when I thought that I would never achieve anything substantial professionally, creatively. Like when I was on a train to New York and going to go see a Broadway play where people I went to college with were performing in. Or when I got rejection, like 250, now close to 300 rejection letters from agents for my book. Where I have thought I might as well die because I'm never going to succeed in life, that I'm never going to have value in the world. When I examine it through this lens of rejection and not feeling entitled to take up space, not feeling entitled to live, I start to have empathy for myself, to realize that those feelings were coming from a desire to be seen, and desire to feel like I matter and that I deserve a place on this planet. When I look at some of the things I've done in my life, like, I mean, you guys watch my YouTube channel, you know I like talking about penises and my body, and there have been times in my life where I've, shared provocative photos online. Not because I was looking for someone to hook up with or I wanted sexual connection, but I did it because I wanted to feel seen. Because I've wanted people to tell me I matter. That for this moment, I see you and you are valuable. Because rejection cuts so deep. Rejection tells you you don't matter. And for most of my life, the amount of rejection that I've endured, and again, not to say that my story is exceptional, right? Like, I think we all endure this. I have been told, you might as well disappear. You might as well hide, run away, die even, because no one cares. And when I have these more recent experiences like this childhood friend who I viewed as probably my closest relationship, doing basically that. We got into a tiff over their wedding because at their wedding, I felt invisible. I felt like I didn't matter. They didn't include me in anything special. They made me one of 26 members of the bridal party and was told I wasn't allowed to speak or give a speech or even spend any time with my friend alone on their wedding day. And I felt so invisible and unseen, and because I had a moment of losing my patience, this friend now, as far as I know, I think it's just that, no longer wants to speak to me. Again, this rejection that cuts so close to the bone, where they won't talk with me, where they, again, trigger this feeling of invisibility, this feeling of worthlessness. And it doesn't help that at least the stories I heard growing up was that to be valuable, you had to be tremendously successful. To be valuable, you had to reach a certain level of fame or reach a certain level of income or have a certain number of followers. And the truth is, most of us are never going to do that. A friend of mine who I went to college with, I saw posted on Instagram yesterday, very, very talented actor, has worked on Broadway. I actually did an interview with him right when this YouTube channel started, so you can actually find it on here. But one of the things he posted is he's like, I wish someone had told me when I was younger that you're not going to be the exception to the rule. And we all start out and we think, oh, I'm going to be the exception. I'm going to be the person who makes it, who breaks through. I'm going to be famous and get all the roles I want to play. Girl, no, you're not. You're not. Maybe 1 out of 10 million people who walk into this audition room, this school, this theater will get that. 1 in 10 million. You're probably more likely to win the lottery. You're not going to be that. So I find myself growing up in a society that said, okay, you feel invisible, you feel worthless, but if only you get this role, if only you win this book contract, if only you make $10 million, if only you do this, then you will be valuable. And most of us are not going to do that. And my guess is even if you did, and not that I've done those things, but even if you did, it still doesn't actually make you feel worthwhile. I mean, listen, I think Jim Carrey is a really beautiful voice on this. He says, I wish everybody could become rich and famous and realize how worthless it is. I actually think it's a tremendous blessing. I didn't get what I wanted career-wise when I was younger, wanting to be a professional actor and struggling for almost 10 years at it. I'm lucky I didn't get it, because had I gotten that and still felt worthless, I don't think there's anything that could have saved me. I mean, we see the amount of suicide and drug use amongst the uber successful. So this is what I've been working on lately. This is the story I felt compelled to share tonight. And if you're still watching, then maybe this story resonates with you. Maybe you also feel rejected, invisible, abandoned, worthless. So maybe you too need to be reminded that there are people on this planet who see you, who value you, who love you, and they're so grateful that you are here. Even if they never tell you it, even if it's only one person, maybe it's only 3 people. To have a genuine connection, that's what matters. And that's what our society gets so fucking wrong. I don't know about you, but where I grew up, that was the message I heard over and over is, you have to be successful, you have to be famous, you have to be rich, you have to be well-liked. But that doesn't actually make you happy. What makes you really happy are genuine connections with other living, breathing souls who actually see you, who actually show up and say, I care. I'm going to show up when you're having a bad day. I'm going to show up at your wedding. I'm going to show up at your kid's birthday party. I'm going to show up just because. And I'm going to see you, and I'm going to tell you that you matter. And I'm going to tell you that you're beautiful even when you're not. I'm going to tell you that I'm proud of you even when you fail. And I'm going to tell you that you are successful because you're alive. That it doesn't matter what the hell you achieve. The sheer fact that you are breathing and you are here and your heart is beating, you are worthy. You are wonderful. And it's so fucking messed up that we live in a culture that says a person's worth is determined by how pretty they are, or how many likes they get, or how much money they have in a bank account, or whatever. That's not real. And if you've lived long enough, you know, and all of that is transient. Money disappears, beauty fades, talents evaporate. So long as our love, our self-worth, our sense of belonging is conditional on what we do or what we achieve or how we look or what we have attained, it will be fleeting. So let yourself be seen. Let yourself be vulnerable and connect with someone else, even if it's an animal, like my dog Galileo, even if it's a parent, even if it's someone who you don't know well, but you share a moment of connection. Because you are worthy, and so is everyone. So that's my story tonight. Recognizing my own feelings, my own experience of rejection, how much that has formed my life in a way I didn't realize, and how I am working very hard this week to connect and resonate and sense all of the people who are glad that I'm here, that I do matter, that I am worthy of living and taking up space, regardless of what I achieve, regardless of what I do. And so are you. And so are you. Maybe I know you, maybe I don't. Maybe you've commented on my videos or have subscribed to my Patreon page so we've gotten to interact more. Maybe you've never commented. Maybe this is the first video you're watching, which, hey, welcome, hi, mazel tov, dive right in. Maybe I don't know you, but my soul resonates with yours, and we are in this together. Because I don't know if you've ever gone to the Rockies in Colorado or Montana, but one of the most beautiful things to see is a grove of aspen trees. And it looks like it's these millions of separate trees, but in reality they're not. They're actually one tree. They're all genetic clones of each other. They're all connected through their roots. We are those aspens. When one of us thrives, so do all of us. When one of us suffers, so do we all weep. We are not separate. Our lives are more intertwined than we realize. And that's one of the beautiful things about the gesture of namaste, which means that part of me bows to that part of you. We are one. We think we're separate. We're not. And that's why I celebrate for you your successes. And I weep with you for your sorrows. And when you're down on yourself, I will metaphorically or literally hold your hand and say, you're going to get through this. Let's redirect our focus. Let's thrive together. So goes one, so goes all. And that's, my friends, why I will only choose to use words of kindness with you. Why I will only treat you with respect. Why online, when you see all these people posting all this nasty shit, or saying it in person, words matter. How you treat someone else matters, because how you treat something else is how you're really treating yourself. In occultism, witchcraft, they say when you practice black magic, it 7 times comes back to you as intense as you threw it at someone else. In Buddhism, they say anger is like picking up a red hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone when you're the one who gets burned in the process. When we treat others with dignity and encouragement and respect, we give that to ourselves. So please, please don't just treat others like your neighbor. Treat them as you, because they are. They are you. And when you see someone else, when you listen to their story, when you genuinely let them know that they matter, when you give them worth, you are giving that to yourself as well. So let's meditate together. Take a deep breath and feel yourself let go. Feel yourself surrender whatever you're feeling, shuck off that tightness like a snake shedding its skin. We don't want to reject our emotions. We want to be able to sit with them and let them pass through. And even if you're feeling immense discomfort right now, I appeal to that part of you, that wise, deep, enlightened part of you that signed up for this adventure. The one who is watching these emotions going past and saying, I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am not these emotions. And wow, isn't it exquisite that even in this moment of suffering, I'm getting to be intensely human? How wonderful is that? I signed up for this adventure. I'm experiencing heartache, sorrow. Wow. I'm feeling alive in this moment. Isn't that interesting? These emotions, these thoughts are powerful, but they also are not who we are. They are what we are experiencing. And if you are able to witness the flow of thought and emotion, that means that you are not that flow of thought and emotion. You are something different that is observing it, which means you are the watcher. And then who is that watcher but your inner enlightened self? So I appeal to that person inside of you in the depth of your heart, where the soul resides. Breathe there. Breathe into your chest, breathe into your heart, and let it expand like sunshine cutting through the clouds. Remind yourself that the core of you is vast and eternal. It does not change, it does not age, it does not wither away. The yogis define our core self as Sat Chit Ananda, truth, consciousness, and bliss. That at your core, each and every one of you, myself, you, everyone you've ever met, we are truth, we are awareness, and we are unbridled, radiant joy. That's who exists at the core of you. And isn't that amazing? We're not shutting out the darkness. We're not saying these feelings are inappropriate or move on. No, those feelings are there and we allow them to be there. We give gratitude for those difficult feelings because it means we're alive. It means we're having a human experience. And damn it, it is so much better to feel pain than to feel numb. I would rather deal with the highs and lows of life and know I'm alive than not feel anything. Joy and sorrow are the opposite sides of the same coin. Or as one of my favorite quotes that I'm going to butcher goes by Khalil Gibran, sorrow carves a channel in the granite through which the river of joy is able to later flow. To the extent you've experienced your own sorrow, that is the level to which you'll be able to reach your joy. One carves the way for the other. And so when you mourn, when you feel worthless, celebrate and dance because you are creating the space to hold joy later on. You are experiencing your divine humanness. You know, they say we sign up to be souls on earth, to be humans, because it is the most sacred place to be. Better than being a god, better than being an angel, because here we get to experience everything. We get the whole buffet of colors. And through that choice, through that radical variety of experience, we get to grow. If everything were easy and effortless and beautiful all the time, our growth would be slower. Because those challenges are things we get to rise above, to grow through, if we see them as opportunities. Because we all know people who have been beaten down by life's hardships and they've contracted and become these balls of intransigence, of just crud and muck and slime. That pressure has pushed them down and broken them down. Instead, let the pressure crack you open. And when you crack open, you find starlight within. You find awe and majesty within. Suffering can make you more compassionate, more kind, more calm, more loving, more forgiving, or it can make you bitter and rage at the world. And I know how I'm going to use these difficult feelings in my journey. I'm going to use them to increase my light. And that is my message for you tonight. You are so valuable. You don't even know how precious you are. None of us do. None of us ever know how beautiful, how radiant, how talented we are. We never know the extent of it. Because, just talking pure brain science here, we evolved, historically speaking, so that negative messages will imprint, I think they say 5 times harder in our brain, because we needed it to keep us alive. We needed it to keep us away from the tigers or the dangerous plants. There are no second chances, right? You gotta remember that. It needs to stick in harder. But we no longer live on the savannah. We no longer have to battle saber-toothed tigers on glaciers. So our brains are set up to reinforce the negative messaging so much harder than the positive. I mean, we all do it, right? Someone will leave one nasty comment on a video, and that's the one I'll think about. Meanwhile, there were like 18 beautiful, heartfelt, soul-bearing comments, and I'll appreciate them, but my mind goes right back to that one who says, oh, your music's annoying, or you're a narcissist, or you're a 40-year-old white woman. I don't know, some bullshit people, right? That's how our brains evolved. So none of us hear it enough. None of us hear enough that we are beautiful and radiant and talented and worthy and belong. And we need to hear it with 5 times the frequency and 5 times the intensity to overcome the negative shit. That's why some people, like my in-laws, think I'm overly effusive with my praise. Or they think I'm not being genuine, because if I'm genuinely feeling love or gratitude, I'm very expressive of it. I think, well, that's not genuine. No, it is. I just know how hard it is to hear. And I know how we all need to hear it more than we have. So if no one else is going to say it to you tonight, let me say it one more time, because I haven't said it enough. You matter. I'm glad you're here, even if I haven't met you yet. My soul still senses you, knows you. I'm glad you've made it this far on your journey. And I think you're beautiful. I think you're wise. I think you're intelligent. I think you're talented. I think you're loving. I think you're a spark of the divine, even though I don't know you, because I know deep down that's the truth. That's who you really are. And it doesn't matter what you achieve, or who follows you on Instagram, or how many book trip contracts you've gotten. are worthy. You are loved, you are whole, and you belong. And I'm so sorry you don't hear that enough. I hope you're surrounding yourself with people who tell you that on a regular basis. My husband is amazing at that. I so love the verbal validation he gives me in that way, and the physical validation of touching me and showing me that he cares. And he has helped me tremendously on my journey. I'm so grateful from him. I hope you find similar. I hope you surround yourself with people who tell you you are amazing. Because there sure as hell enough people out there who will tell you otherwise. And we don't need to hear it. We just don't. I mean, sure, if you're murdering puppies, I would really hope someone would tell you about that and say, hey, let's look at your life choices. But chances are you're not, at least I hope not. If you are, you're probably watching a different channel, probably, I don't know, something with guns in it. Probably not this. And if you are watching this, kudos to you. Good job. That sounds like good personal growth. Keep at it. Sending you much love across the cosmos wherever you are. And remember this. You are a little speck of divinity that broke off from the whole, that decided to go on the adventure that you're having, from incarnation to incarnation, until it's time for you to rejoin back with the oneness. And whether you're experiencing pain or pleasure, success or failure, company or estrangement, it's still an adventure. And at least life isn't boring. So that's my message for you all tonight. Hope this was helpful to some of you. I've seen a couple of your comments. I'll come and read them later. Thank you so much for taking time to engage. Thank you so much for being here. It is an honor and a privilege to share my experience and to be of service for you. If you ever need anything, please do not hesitate to reach out. Shoot me an email is best, but you can also shoot me a DM on social media. May you be blessed. May you be whole. May you be filled with joy and peace and confidence. May you know you are loved. May you know peace. May you know community. May you radiate. May you shine. May you dance with ecstasy in front of the full moon, in front of a silver lake, and shout yes to the universe. May you know your divinity. May you make your life a joy. And may you make someone else's life better through how you live your own. That is my blessing for you tonight. Much love. Be well. See you soon. Thanks for being here.